one of the things, given how much the Arctic is changing, is to try and find a way to slow it down. And one of the things that we're looking at is, are there ways to encourage reductions in the emissions that are especially affecting the Arctic? Among those might be black carbon that occurs in high latitudes. It can come from forest fires, so it might be that some kinds of forest management can help. It comes from the diesel exhausts of engines that are on ships and that power that are used for energy generation in some villages. Are there ways to either capture that with filters? Are there, one of the things with icebreakers that they've been talking about is switching to turbines and not using that heavy bunker fuel that puts out black exhaust. So one is finding out what all those emissions are, and then there's an effort underway to try and start a sort of voluntary registry that would try and encourage groups, businesses and others, to limit what they do that is warming the Arctic. One of the other things that's really kind of interesting that can warm the Arctic is when icebreakers are used and how they function. If they break through springtime ice that is bright and reflecting sunlight, they will create a dark passage. They will break the ice into smaller pieces so it melts faster. And so that'll allow more solar absorption, more radiation to come in and warm the ocean. On the other hand, if they go through in the fall or the winter and they break up the ice, at that time of the year, the ice is serving as an insulator. It's keeping the heat in the ocean and preventing it from radiating to space. That's why with thick ice, you can get down to minus 40 degrees or so, and yet you have 2 meters down, you have ice, you have water at zero. So ice is an insulator. So if icebreakers go through in the winter, and it's hard to go through 2-meter ice, but if you go through the thinner ice, what it will do is let heat escape from the ocean into the atmosphere and then from the atmosphere to space. And as you make the ocean colder, that allows more ice to form sort of later in the season. So that would be a way, for example, to try and encourage ice buildup, just as reducing some of the heating gases or black carbon will tend to reduce the warming influence. So there are people starting to look at what you might be able to do in the Arctic to try and see if we can at least limit it a bit, given how much it is changing.